All right, hey guys, how you doing? My name is Tim Black, Tim Black TV. I'm here to talk about Keith Scott, the shooting that we all been covering. Told you I'd come back with more information. Hey Periscope, how you doing? All right, so we're all aware of what happened with Keith Scott. He was shot in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the fallout that happened because they wouldn't release the footage. There's been a numerous amount of protests, some violence, some aggressive action. A man was shot during a protest. So we're all aware of that. The release of the dashcam footage showed me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've seen it a number of times, over 30 times at this point, and I'm still unable to see a gun in this man's hand. What I saw was a man getting out of his car slowly and backing away in no aggressive manner whatsoever, his hands by his side. You look at one dashcam footage, you see the officer directly behind him, and I looked at it closely. I do not see an object in this man's hand. But you know what? That's the thing about this. They're not alleging that he had a gun visible, just that he had a gun. That's the cornerstone of their argument. That's what they're trying to say. He had a gun, therefore he deserved to be dead. You need to know that this is illegal, and you need to know that this is not rules of engagement for any military personnel that we have overseas that fight so-called, quote unquote, the enemy. Even with the enemy, you should have some type of rules of engagement where you have to fire. There are many protocols that you go through before shooting. But this leads us right back to where we've always been, with police not having a benchmark for action that is general for all police officers in the United States. So I want to just tell you a little bit more detail about this shooting. They released pictures of the handgun and marijuana. Police say Keith Scott possessed. Dashcam footage released on Saturday shows Scott getting out of his car, walking backwards with his hands down, just like I said. But the BBC's Laura Bicker in Washington says it does not clear up the key question of whether Mr. Scott had a gun or if he pointed a gun at an officer. Do you understand what I'm saying? They're not even alleging the pointing of the gun. Him merely having a gun, in their minds, constitutes them shooting lethally or making a lethal action against this man. And then they wonder why we're upset. Then they wonder, why are we protesting? Why are we chanting? Hands up, don't shoot, Black Lives Matter, what have you. I think it's very simple. This man's life did not have to be taken. Now, you juxtapose this, right, with Keith Scott being shot for what? In his car, smoking marijuana. In his car, smoking marijuana. What a dangerous offense. Remember, the tactical team was not there for Mr. Scott. They were waiting on an actual violent person. Not Mr. Scott in his car rolling a blunt or a cigarette or whatever. And they said they saw him with a gun in a state where you're legal to carry guns. And they did not know him. They did not know of any prior incidents with this man. That's important, because a lot of people are throwing in that he had a record, he shouldn't have had a gun. But they didn't know that unless they have mind read capability. They had no way of knowing that this man had any record and that the gun was one he should not have had. If a gun was had, because I don't see him with a gun. Though the police have produced pictures of a gun, they say, that has his DNA on it and that he possessed. I'm like, show me the footage. Once again, guys, so we're looking at this as an action that didn't need to happen. De-escalation obviously did not take place, but once again, no charges against the officers. And I want to cut to one point of this real quick, because I think it's relevant. I don't care the color of the officer that shot Mr. Scott. It's irrelevant to me. Blue is the color. It's the magic color. Not white cop, not black cop, not Asian cop, not Native American cop, not Latino cop. Police officer. Blue badge. Blue wall of silence. All right. So now, while I'm online and I'm tweeting about Keith Scott, we're talking about the footage. We're having these discussions. I come upon another situation that occurred on Friday, guys. that some of you may be aware of. It happened at a mall in Seattle where a man walks in for no reason whatsoever. He shoots 5 people, killing 4 people immediately. 1 person was transported. 4 of the 5 people were women. The man later died at the hospital. This man, Arcane Sitin, not sure how you pronounce his last name, 20-year-old from Turkey originally, now a legal U.S. resident. He shot these 5 people for no motive whatsoever. He was apprehended the next day. Spotted, identified as the man that they were looking for, identified on surveillance camera footage as the killer of 5 innocent people in a mall at a Macy's in Seattle with a long gun. They took him without incident. Mr. Seaton is alive today, folks. He will go to trial today. Now, I just want to ask you, I'm going to pose this question to you. Do you think the officers that apprehended the killer, Arcane Sitin, who had just killed 5 people for no apparent reason, do you think the same level of care and justice and professionalism that was handled in that Seattle, Washington situation could have possibly been handled by 5 tactical officers in Charlotte, North Carolina, with a non-aggressive black man such as Keith Lamont Scott? That's the question. And until we start asking those types of questions, why do terrorists get to live? I remind you of the bomber in New York and New Jersey who set off 3 bombs, 1 unsuccessfully, 2 others that were successful, 1 who injured 20 different people, 24 people, I think the number was. He shot an officer point blank in the chest. Attempted murder on an officer. He somehow, Mr. Rahami, was able to be apprehended, and Mr. Rahami, the New York, New Jersey bomber, will do what? He will see his day in court. And all I'm asking you guys, and all you folks out there who are arguing amongst yourselves, is it possible we could do a little better job? Shannon Sharp, commentator on FS1, with Skip Bayless, they've been having these conversations, and Shannon Sharp said, it would be nice if you treated us just a little bit better than animals. And in closing, I just want to say I agree with Mr. Sharp, because I don't know many police officers who would shoot a dog if it was backing away from them. And that's exactly what Keith Lamont Scott was doing when they took his life. Shout out to H.A. Goodman, my good friend. Catch us on No Sellouts. My name is Tim Black. Go to TimBlackTV.com. Follow me on social media. Twitter, Real Tim Black. And IamTimBlack.com for my YouTube channel. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Periscope. In solidarity, we are the revolution.